Hey guys, it is Chad here from the Battle Warrior Podcast, and I'm just letting all you listeners know that the Battle Warrior Podcast episodes will be available across all podcast platforms, guys. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this brand new episode today.
Please beware. The voice in your head is a threat.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome to Battle Warrior Podcast. We have a guest that's been waiting on my list for many months, and we're not going to laugh on it. It's just our schedules haven't quite aligned as much. But hey, guys, we got Josh Brisbane on my podcast episode, the Battle Warrior Podcast. And if I mispronounce your last name, man, you can pounce on me. But we've known each other for what, 9 months, 10 months?
Yeah. It's been a little bit, so now we're finally connected. So it's good to be on here.
But it's been great during this 9 months here, guys, because I myself and many people that are in the groups that we're in have watched a phenomenal journey of you launching Hard to Kill, which is your number one selling book, which you have in a case behind you right now, and then also creating the Savage Syndicate group. So, guys, we'll have him. Welcome to the podcast, and I completely messed that up, but whatever.
You're good. Hey, one and done, right?
Absolutely, one and done.
Yeah, but thank you for having me. Yeah, it's an honor. And like you said, we've been when we reached out to each other, we reached out to each other 9 months ago, and now we're finally better late than never, what they say, right?
Just how it rolls, guys, in this industry. You do it. And the funny thing is we were talking about prior, and I'm like, dude, like my reintroduction post, and I want to put this in the thing. I never noticed how much power the reintroduction post is, because I always heard it in my head with Jay-Z say, let me reintroduce myself. I'm like, wait a minute here. And yeah, like you said, you reached out on that. So I want you to explain that too, because we were kind of joking with yours too. You're like, dude, I gotta do it.
Yeah, it's good. Like we were talking about it. It's like you get so caught up in your moment and getting your message out there, and you kind of forget that, hey, you have new viewers, new audience, new people coming in and finding you on all these platforms, and they might not know how they found you and who you are. So I think what you did was awesome. It reconnected us, and it's definitely something I need to do, because people are like, hey, who's Chad Smith? Who's Josh Brisbane? Well, if you have the pin or whatever, make it front and first in the Facebook and all your social media, then it's a great tactic, because we're always passing out business cards, we're passing out this, we're always saying, hey, I'm John. Why not always put that front and forward and say, hey, this is what I'm about, this is what I do, and come into my circle.
Yeah, and the thing that we're talking about, and I think it's a repeated pattern in this whole industry, like the masterminds, the groups, and all that stuff, and what, like me and you were chuckling, it's like we get so absorbed, and it's not, we don't even notice. It just, it pulls in here. And the big thing I want to talk about is actually the one you're releasing, which is actually on your hat right now, which is super, super clean. So I don't know what box you pulled that out of, but it's like no freaking dirt on it.
You know what I gotta say? This hat has been sat on. It's been thrown in the sand, the dirt, the dog, and I noticed that too. And I'm like, damn, this hat is standing up to the test of time for sure. But Savage Syndicate is what it says. That's the group I have, Savage Syndicate.
And explain to my viewers exactly what's that about, because obviously we're talking about masterminds and stuff, but explain to someone that's not a member to what is in that group and how everyone's lives are being changed in it.
So how it came about actually was in one of my other mastermind groups. There's about 100 guys in there on a weekly call. And I think it was right around the time of the Buffalo mass shooting. The guy walked into a grocery store and just started unloading. And some people were asking like, oh man, how could that happen? And this and that. And I've been around, well, a little bit about me. I started mixed martial arts about 20 years ago. So I've been fighting off and on for the last 20 years, training. I did some cage fights back in the day, and I've taken tons of tactical courses. in the beginning, I was doing it for vanity. I just wanted to be a badass, right? Like I was in my 20s. I wanted to be the tough guy. And then now that I have a family, and that's them right there, all of my skills are geared towards protecting myself and them, because as we all know, we live in crazy times. Criminals are more brazen. They're doing things in broad daylight. They don't, no longer are they waiting until 2 a.m. to come into your house. They're doing it 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They're attacking people. So a little bit about my history there. So what, in this group, they started asking me my opinion and all my some questions. And I took over the meeting, and I kind of talked for an hour, and I kept apologizing to Mark. I'm saying, I'm so sorry for hijacking your meeting. He says, no, you're adding value. So keep going. So after that call, a lot of people got into my messages, DMs and whatnot, and said, man, you added tons of value. You need to create a group where you can share your story, share your knowledge and your experience, and add value to people. Like, it's a sad fact that most men don't know how to protect themselves. They don't know how to throw a proper punch. So when something out in the street and you're with your family and something happens, they're looking at other people. And I'm a big supporter of the police, and you call 911, but what are they going to do? 7, 9, 10, if they show up at all? You are your first responder. We are the ones who have to protect ourselves and our family. I mean, I got a 9-year-old and a wife who's 5'2", 100 pounds. I protect them, and I've taken that upon myself. And that's what the Savage Syndicate is all about. Is I'm not on the video like Mr. Miyagi. Okay, throw a cross 100 times. Hey. I mean, I have training videos. We go through training, exercise, and we do all that stuff. But my main goal with Savage Syndicate is to inspire you, even if you're in Wyoming or Montana or anywhere you're, because I'm in California, to inspire you to get off your ass and go into a fight studio, a dojo, a gym, whatever you want to call it, and learn. Well, I have 4 principles of becoming hard to kill. It's situational awareness, strength and conditioning, training, and consistency. So with this group, I want to inspire people to do that, to go in there, go to the gym. Because first rule of fighting, if you can, run. But if you can't physically run because your beer belly's hanging over, or you can't, that's on you. And you got to take full responsibility, because if you can't run to save your life, then you're screwed, right? Another one is strength and conditioning. You got to be strength and conditioning, obviously, but situational awareness is another one. You got to spot the danger before it happens. We teach people how to do that. There's color codes that we all go through. Green, it's like a traffic light. As soon as you walk out of your house, you should be in yellow, because predators are watching you. They're watching your every move, and they're going to attack you. And so you need to, danger leaves clues, just like business does. And then training and consistency. So that's what Savage Syndicate's all about. I rolled it up, and we have training courses. I have the people that the relationships I've acquired with UFC fighters, ex-Navy SEALs, ex-Green Berets, high elite protectors are in this group. And just like we would be in a group for businesses, right? We want to, like, hey, this guy's a multimillionaire. How do we get to that level? Well, if he has a mastermind, he's expediting all that in-between shit that we would have to do, right? We're both in mastermind groups. Yep. And we're surrounding ourselves by people who've done it, and they're at where we want to be, right? So that's what I've done with Savage Syndicate, is surrounding yourself, once you're in the group, with elite protectors, fighters, law enforcement, military, and just people that you can bounce. Hey, I was at the store today and I saw somebody attack this and this and that. What should I have done? People answer those questions. Protectors answer those questions. It's just another place. Instead of going after $1 million and driving the Bentley and flying in private planes, that's all great. But if you don't know how to protect yourself, and you don't know how the basics, the fundamentals of fighting, it's pointless. It's worthless. And it will, I mean, if you're dead, you're not going to be able to use it anyway. So you need to learn to protect yourself. And that's what Savage Syndicate's all about. That's what the book Hard to Kill is. The lessons that I've learned in life that made me go in certain directions and become a protector. But that's what the Savage Syndicate's all about, is becoming a protector. And I inspire you to become hard to kill.
Well, and that's and I'm gonna lead this to another question here, because in the groups there's a unknown pattern, not say unknown pattern, it's a non-said pattern where all like the males and even females are starting to get in jiu-jitsu. And I'm a wrestler from high school, so like mat wrestling and stuff, I did a lot of that in high school. But I'm looking at it this way, going, especially walking around in the upper Midwest, that I would go to someone and be like, hey, where's the dojo? And everyone's like, well, I used to do that back in the day, or I can't afford it now, or whatever. And I'm not gonna, add who the person is or whatever. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, especially now, if they're gonna be complete dumbasses and try to, take every gun right away, and they're not gonna on some, but our government's not too friendly right now. We'll just say it that way. But I need something just in case that I'm not carrying, like I don't carry, but just in general, like I need something to learn to where if some dude's going to come behind me, kick, throw, hip, whatever. But like I know the head throw, I know how to do the stuff just from like the Greco wrestling days and all that. But the pattern of everyone getting into that is insane right now. Like there's a huge drift into like jiu-jitsu and all that. So explain to people what you learn in that and why everyone's kind of directing towards that.
Yeah, so jiu-jitsu in particular is really taken off, and I think one of the main attributes is that is Joe Rogan. A lot of people listen to Joe Rogan. He's a black belt. He's been training for years, but people realize that if he's 5'4" or something, if it's basically that, what jiu-jitsu is, for those that don't know, it's kind of like wrestling, but with submissions. You take arms, you take limbs, and you break them. And obviously in training, we go until they tap, right? If you watch the UFC at all, when the fights go to the ground, which a lot of people don't like because then it gets boring, watch it with a different set of eyes. Watch it as far as like, look at his movement, because you're a wrestler. Most people don't know their own body weight, how to distribute it to their benefit. So jiu-jitsu is when the fight goes to the ground, how do you handle yourself? Like, let's say for women, right? It's a bad situation, but if you're in a rape scenario, the guy's in between your legs. And in jiu-jitsu, we call that the guard. Most women think, and my wife included, she says, well, I'm only 5'2", 100 pounds. What can I do? So many things you can do. And when you're on the ground, jiu-jitsu teaches you how to create space and then run, right? Because we're not telling 5'2", 100-pound women to take on a 6'5" attacker, right? I mean, odds are it's not going to work in their favor. But what you can do is create enough space and enough damage because another thing I want to say is there's no honor in surviving. And when the number one goal in fighting, if you have to get into a street fight and attack or whatever and protect yourself, there's no honor. So I'm ripping ears off, I'm biting, I'm fish hooking, I'm pulling eyes out. And that's what women need to know is that, there's no honor in, like, if the guy's going to rape you, well, he's going to do harm to you and he might kill you. So the number one goal in me every day is to wake up and come home to my family and my wife and kid. So there's jiu-jitsu super beneficial in the fact that once the fight goes to the ground, it teaches you how to fight on the ground. And you could either destroy your attacker on the ground, or you can, make him wince in enough pain to get up and run. And that's what jiu-jitsu is. It's like wrestling with submissions.
Yeah, and actually, in the way you're talking, I'm like, I was actually in my wrestling days, I wanted to be the guy on the ground.
Yeah,
because I'm gonna use this for example. So like I was 5'4", 5, whatever the hell I was. I was real short and kind of petite. Yeah. I knew if I was wrestling a guy that was like 6'2", 6'3", whatever, that if I was down and all my weight is level, I know that he's going to get sweaty and I know he's going to slip up and he's going to go over and above to where I could be like, okay, dude, I'm going to hip throw you and I'm going to roll you on your back. And in wrestling, that's a pin. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, let's play cat and mouse right now and just kind of let the dude slip up. And that's the thing that I don't miss the wrestling workout. I mean, now working out all the time, yes, I enjoy the workout, but I miss as a male, you kind of get older and you totally forget that sometimes you just need to throw a fucking dude on the ground.
Yeah. I'm 47 and I have these gold medals. I've had 2 jiu-jitsu tournaments this year. I have one more next year or next week. And it's in there. If you're an alpha or you're not an alpha, it feels good to throw. I'm not saying cause pain to another person, but I box and do other stuff too.
Yeah.
But damn it, throw another person on the ground and submit them. We're very honorable and we're very, integrity in jiu-jitsu. But if you in your head don't go, fuck yeah, I just did that, then you're crazy, because you do it. You walk around like, I heard Brian Callen, the comedian, say the other, a while back. He says, we're always meeting new people and this and this and that. And he said to his wife, he says, every time you introduce me to your girlfriend's husband or boyfriend, he goes, hi, I'm Josh. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I could fucking destroy that guy. How would I do it? Would I ankle pick him and go down? Would I club? That's in our minds. It's in my mind for sure. And I think it's a lot of people's minds. Like, how can I destroy that guy? So,
well, I don't even look at it that way. I just look at it, especially like the, and I'm gonna use this for example. So like, there's a girl in town I would love to date, but she always has new boyfriends, and I'm walking, I'm just like, dude comes walking, I'm like, dude, you're fucked. Like, you're fucked, because like, even on my end of it, but like, you could walk and he's just hunts back and just kind of act like a dopey piece of shit, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, all right, dude, like if it doesn't happen and we don't date, I don't care, but in general, like, she's gonna tear you apart.
Yeah. Well, that's funny you say that, because I did a social post the other day about what attackers look for when they're going after their victims. And they had a bunch of convicted felons and they gave them pictures of people and they rated the people 1 to 10, like why this person. And the look of the person was high up there on the rankings, because they're like, yeah, if somebody's walking, their clothes are well kept and they have a mission A to B and they're walking to it,
They
they're
ain't
not
gonna
gonna
mess with it.
people.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at your phone, you're kind of dilly-dallying, you're hunched over, you're kind of like, they go after those people. So you got to walk with confidence. This is all part of Savage Syndicate, but you got to present yourself with confidence. And part of that, most of that, is when you can fuck up somebody else, you can armbar somebody or triangle or a knee to the chest, whatever, do some violent shit. It's just natural. You're going to walk with a little bit more hep in your step, because you can't, there's not a lot of people who can mess with you. So yeah, for you to see that guy like that is like a pretty tall tale sign that you can probably take him out, right?
Yeah, and I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, and I'm 5'9", 180-ish, and I gain weight because I'm not doing my ultra runs right now. But I'm just sitting there looking, I'm just like, and you could just see him like, and okay, guys, I'm not gonna put an image on it, but I'm just, there's like a golfing look where you're like in bubbly shit with the white hat. And it's just a bro look. And I'm just gonna say a bro look. Like, the ones that want to mess with people are the ones that are tough inside, like me and you and all that. We're in a hoodie and a hat. We don't give a shit. Like we care to look good, but we don't even, like, we're just like, all right, who's another dude? Like that. And just walking up, just a little bit of water in his mouth. I'm just like, okay, dude, I'm a country boy. Deep down, like, you're in church chewing with a white hat that's backwards with a coffee in your hand. I'm like, some dude, like, just shut up.
Yeah.
So
no, it's definitely, I mean, you got to put out that aura of like, hey, I'm the wrong one to be messed with, because like I said earlier, when you walk out of that house, you're being watched. When you're getting gas in your car, you're being watched. When you're at the bank, you're being watched. I know I can go on a whole rabbit hole of being, our conversations being heard on my phone right now and all that, but I'm not breaking any law. But the point is, you walk out of that house, you are being judged on your appearance. You're being judged on how you conduct business. And I know it's always in my mind. I always tell people that, because I get some knuckleheads, and especially with some of my videos going viral, is like, oh, you're being paranoid, you're being this, you're being that. I'm like, no, I don't army crawl to my car in the morning. I don't do this, but I'm a little more aware. I'm a little more cautious. And my family can bebop around, but I'm the one who's like, we have safe words. Hey, pineapple. And they get behind me if they have to, or we have plans. And that all stems from situational awareness and being under the notion that, hey, we are being watched. Somebody's looking out. They could attack you, or they could attack the guy who's sitting there with his head down on his phone. And it's like, hey, I want all the advantages in my corner if shit hits the fan. So
yeah, and I actually experienced something like that this past winter when I actually reached out to you, because I went to a movie theater and the guy kind of looked around the corner, and my ex-girlfriend at the time's like, she goes, what the hell just happened? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you went from like chill to like don't get near me because I'm gonna pounce. And I didn't even notice it. And I looked at her, I said, if that dude comes 3 more feet near me, like, he's done. Yeah. And she's like, just chill. I'm like, because what he did is, there was only 4 people in this theater. It was an old school theater, and he kind of walked around, and there's a sense of, okay, if you're looking at someone or you're watching a room, you kind of watch in the room, everyone sees where you're at, and you kind of back out and you're like, okay, hey, everyone's cool. Look, get out. Like, you don't mess with it. The dude
Yeah.
poked his head around the corner and just kind of like did a half-ass look. And it caught my eye because I'm a deer hunter and stuff. So like my awareness of being in public is very, and as hunters or fighters, any of that, like it's like, okay, squirrel's on a tree. You look to your left. All right. Yeah. And he just looked and I didn't even see that. I just saw the shadow on my right side. And I'm like, I looked them and it was just instant. Like the line kicked in. Like, dude, like don't even get close because you're going to be freaking on the ground in like 2 seconds.
And imagine the people who don't have that instinct or don't have that know about, like the whereabouts of that. That's what I want to teach. That's what I want to inspire to look into. Like I said, I can't sit on a phone call like this and tell you. I could tell you the cues and all that, but you got to go out there and experience it. You got to go out there and put the work in. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a real thing. Like you said, you got tensed up, you got ready to go, and it's like, all right, you go into another, like, I don't want to say a color because I hate the people who say, oh, I'm just going to see red and I'm going to handle my shit. It's like, okay, well, let me know how that color works out for you. But you definitely get into another zone for sure.
You can almost sense it, like when your awareness is very well, like you can almost sense at times that some stuff's going to go down. That and I've been in a few when I used to drink. It's like you look and you kind of see the people walking in the room. You're like, okay, guys, we're gonna have to go. Like something's gonna go because someone's you feel it.
Well, that's what I talk about in my book with situational awareness too. Is like when we go into restaurants, my back is towards a wall, right? I know where the exits are. I'm watching the front, and I talk about it. It's like, okay, and I'm not talking about being Jason Bourne, where it's like that guy could run 2 minutes and 27 seconds without getting tired. That guy's good with weapon. I'm mentally thinking who's on my team and whatnot. But you understand, like if that couple over there is arguing, okay, they're on my radar. If homeboy decides to go nutso on his wife and then take it everywhere, he's on my radar. That couple's a little too drunk, or they're watching a sports game and they're like acting like knuckleheads, and I have my family and son with me. These are the things that you clock, right? It doesn't mean that I'm going over and saying, hey guys, calm it down. I'm not being Superman. I'm not pulling off the chest and saying, let's go, I have skills, let's go. I'm clocking them. They're on my radar, and then you just carry on about and have a good time. But that's what people tell me. It's like, oh, you must be a real joy to go out with. I'm like, yeah, I have a great time, but I'm aware. I'm not like just curling up in a fetal position and like begging for, shit to happen, but I'm aware if things happen and I'm on guard and I'm on point. So it's just a way that I've chosen to live.
Yeah. And exactly like people like us that are, I don't want to say guards underneath the layers, but when that layers gets pulled back and all of a sudden it comes out, it's a whole different, and I notice it just like a switched in the brain. It's just, you're ready to go, and you're ready to not shoot in general with the gun, but like in wrestling or fighting, it's like go time, let's go, and you flip that switch. So where can all my listeners go find your information, your awesome book, and also your Senate It, where they can join your group on Facebook?
Yeah, so we were talking about it before. I made it easy for everybody. Go to savagesyndicategroup.com. You can go find my book there, my podcast. I'm actually having a live event in February. I'm getting ready to promote. It's called Savage Syndicate Live. It's out here in Dana Point, California, February 25th and February 26th. So you can find it on that. But savagesyndicategroup.com is where you can find all my information on there.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Absolutely, man.